The atmosphere in Fairmont Crest is nothing short of suffocating right now. We are standing on the precipice of a massive storm, both literally with the impending tornado threatening to tear the country club apart, and figuratively with the dark, venomous tentacles of the plasma ring choking the life out of the town's residents. At the absolute center of this chaotic web is Jacob Hawthorne, a man who is currently drowning in a toxic cocktail of severe post-traumatic stress disorder, paralyzing survivor's guilt, and an insatiable, blinding thirst for vengeance. Ever since Derek Baldwin took that fatal bullet to save his life in that dark, damp warehouse, Jacob has not been the same. The badge on his chest feels heavier, the rules of the law feel like chains, and his entire existence has been boiled down to one singular obsessive goal: capturing the elusive mastermind known only as the Impaler. Recently, Jacob's relentless, off-the-books interrogations yielded a massive, tantalizing clue. Through the gritty grapevine of captured plasma ring associates, specifically a deeply entrenched henchman named Wren, Jacob was finally handed a name. The name that spilled from Wren's lips was not Heather Armstrong, the true identity of the criminal mastermind, but rather David Azarian. Jacob, driven by a desperate need for justice, immediately chased down this lead, kicking down the door of Azarian's known address, only to find a cold, empty room. The trail was dead before it even began, leading a deeply frustrated Jacob straight into the lion's den, Joey Armstrong's casino. When Jacob confronted Joey with the name David Azarian, the tension in that room was thick enough to cut with a knife. Joey, playing a masterful and incredibly dangerous game of chess, calmly confirmed that Azarian was indeed a known trafficker with the exact logistical know-how to run a sophisticated black market operation like the plasma ring. Joey gave Jacob just enough truth to keep the detective chasing ghosts, all while actively protecting his own flesh and blood. Joey knows the terrifying truth that the Impaler is actually his sister, Heather Armstrong. He looked Jacob dead in the eye and allowed the detective to sprint down a fabricated rabbit hole. So this makes me wonder, why did Wren give Jacob the name David Azarian in the first place? Was this a calculated misdirection orchestrated from the very top, or is there a much deeper, more psychological game being played within the ranks of the plasma ring? Let us break down the possibilities, because the implications of this single interrogation could change the entire trajectory of the show. My theory is that there are two highly distinct possibilities regarding Wren's confession, and both of them paint a terrifying picture of Heather Armstrong's capabilities as a crime lord. The first possibility is that Wren genuinely has absolutely no idea who the true leader of the plasma ring is. He does not know the name Heather Armstrong, and he certainly does not know that the boss is a woman. We have to look at the meticulous, brilliant, and paranoid operational security that Heather employs. She has been running this massive international black market syndicate all the way from London. She is a ghost. She relies on heavily layered intermediaries, encrypted communications, and terrifying rumors to keep her subordinates in line. Heather has actively cultivated and spread the chilling rumor that the Impaler is a cold-blooded, ruthless man. It is a brilliant psychological tactic. By projecting a hyper-masculine, terrifying phantom as the face of the organization, she deflects any possible suspicion away from herself. If she ever had to communicate with lower-level operatives like Wren, she undoubtedly used advanced voice modulation technology, heavy face-obscuring masks, and dark, shadowy environments to completely hide her physical form. To Wren, the Impaler was a terrifying concept, a boogeyman in the dark, not a sophisticated woman named Heather. Therefore, when Jacob backed Wren into a corner in that interrogation room, applying immense pressure and threatening him with decades in a maximum security federal penitentiary, Wren panicked. He needed a bargaining chip, a lifeline to save his own skin. So he threw out the name of a known dangerous trafficker, David Azarian, hoping it would be enough of a price to satisfy Jacob's hunger and buy himself a plea deal. Wren wasn't protecting Heather. He was just a desperate criminal trying to survive a sinking ship, completely unaware that he was inadvertently doing exactly what Heather needed him to do, misdirecting the police. But that's not all. As much as the first theory highlights Heather's brilliant isolation tactics, We have to explore the second, far more dangerous possibility. What if Ren knows exactly who Heather is? What if he has seen behind the mask, heard her true voice, and witnessed her ruthless brilliance firsthand? If Ren knows that Heather Armstrong is the Impaler, then his decision to feed Jacob the name David Azarian is a profound display of fierce, terrifying loyalty. In the criminal underworld, loyalty is not given freely. It is either bought with exorbitant amounts of money or forged through absolute paralyzing fear. Heather's operation is notoriously brutal. She does not tolerate failure, and she certainly does not tolerate betrayal. However, she might also be the kind of leader who deeply rewards unwavering loyalty. If Ren is a top-tier lieutenant, a trusted right-hand man who has executed her most brutal orders without hesitation, his silence in that interrogation room is a testament to the cult-like devotion she inspires. He looked at a furious, grieving detective and coolly fed him a lie, fully aware of the consequences, because he believes in Heather's power more than he fears the police. If this second scenario is the truth, and Ren is indeed a fiercely loyal fanatic protecting Heather's identity, then he undoubtedly deserves a massive reward for his silence. Heather is a businesswoman who understands the value of assets, and a highly capable, fiercely loyal soldier who can withstand police interrogation is a rare and invaluable asset. She cannot simply leave him to rot in a holding cell, especially when he holds the key to her entire empire in his mind. This brings me to an incredibly bold, cinematic idea that would completely shatter the current landscape of Fairmont Crest. I firmly believe that Heather is going to orchestrate a massive, violently spectacular prison break to rescue Ren. The storyline surrounding the Impaler has been building to a boiling point, and a daring, highly coordinated assault on a police transport would elevate the drama to heights we have never seen before. It would be the ultimate flex of her international power and a direct, humiliating challenge to Jacob Hawthorne's limit. Think about the logistical pieces currently in play on the board. The timeline explicitly notes that Police Chief Elon Hawthorne has informed Jacob that they are transferring Dr. Leah Whitmore, the disgraced former chief of staff and plasma ring conspirator, this very evening. The police department's resources will be heavily focused on securing Leah's transport. What if Heather uses Leah's highly publicized transfer as a tactical smokescreen? While Elon and the heavily armed tactical units are focused on moving the doctor, Heather's elite imported mercenaries could launch a devastating precision strike on the precinct or a secondary transport vehicle holding Ren. Imagine the sheer chaos. Smoke grenades filling the streets, the deafening sound of automatic gunfire echoing through the usually quiet town, and Heather's operatives surgically extracting her most loyal soldier right out from under the noses of the Fairmont Crest Police Department. If Heather takes this monumental risk to save Ren, the shockwaves will be catastrophic. First and foremost, it will completely destroy whatever fragile sanity Jacob has left. He is already standing on the razor's edge, blatantly defying Chief Elon's direct orders, skipping Martin Richardson's massive political fundraiser, and alienating his deeply terrified wife, Naomi. Naomi is sitting at home, watching the man she loves morph into a cold, obsessed stranger who cares more about a dead man's vengeance than his own family. If Jacob learns that the plasma ring orchestrated a successful prison break in his own backyard, he will completely snap. The badge will no longer matter to him. He will cross every single ethical and legal line to hunt Heather down, transforming from a grieving detective into a lethal, unstoppable vigilante. The cat and mouse game between Jacob and the Impaler will escalate into an all-out, bloody war of attrition. Furthermore, we absolutely must discuss Joey Armstrong's deeply complicit role in this unfolding nightmare. Joey is currently sitting in his lavish casino, looking into the trusting, innocent eyes of Vanessa McBride and lying through his teeth. He assured Vanessa that he canceled his meeting with the Impaler, claiming the operation had moved out of town. Meanwhile, he knows that his own sister is the ruthless monster pulling the strings. He knows that the name David Azarian is a complete fabrication designed to waste police time. Joey mused to himself that he is not so different from his notoriously ruthless, abusive father, as he profits daily from the broken, desperate people who gamble away their lives in his establishment. If Heather unleashes a violent prison break that results in casualties, perhaps even injuring Jacob or other innocent officers, Joey's silence makes him directly responsible. The blood will be permanently stained on his hands. Joey rejected Heather's offer of a dark partnership, foolishly believing he could maintain a peaceful coexistence with a predator. But you cannot negotiate with a hurricane. Heather's actions will inevitably drag Joey down into the mud, forcing him to choose between protecting his monstrous sister or helping the police tear her empire to the ground. And what about the other potential fates for Ren? If Heather does not break him out, his destiny is incredibly grim. If he is truly loyal, Heather might view his capture as a permanent liability. In the ruthless calculus of the black market, a captured soldier is a ticking time bomb. Even the most loyal men can break under the threat of a life sentence. In this scenario, Heather wouldn't send a rescue team, she would send an assassin. We could easily see a chilling scene where Ren is found dead in his cell, the victim of a staged suicide or a perfectly untraceable poison slipped into his food by a corrupt guard on Heather's extensive payroll. Silencing Ren permanently would ensure that the name David Azarian is the absolute last lead the police ever get, effectively burying Heather's secrets in a concrete grave. It would be a cold, calculated move that perfectly aligns with the terrifying, isolated nature of her leadership. Ultimately, the introduction of the name David Azarian is a masterstroke of narrative tension. It proves that the Plasma Ring is not just a group of disorganized thugs. It is a highly intelligent, deeply layered organization capable of complex psychological warfare. Whether Ren is a clueless pawn who bought into the myth of a male impaler or a fiercely loyal fanatic willing to die to protect Heather's secret, the result is the same. Jacob is running in circles while the true predator watches from the shadows. I am on the edge of my seat, waiting to see how this unravels. Will Heather execute a daring, explosive rescue mission that brings the police force to its knees? Will Jacob's relentless, blinding obsession finally push him to a point of no return, costing him his career, his morality, and his marriage to Naomi? And how long can Joey Armstrong continue to balance on this deadly tightrope before his sister's actions force him to take a devastating fall? The storm is here, the gates are wide open, and in Fairmont Crest, absolutely no one is safe from the impending wreckage.